Today, I'm going to share with you 3 reasons you should consider working at a non-technical company. Number 1, at a non-technical company, the interview process tends to be more practical. Here's what I mean. When you interview at a company like Amazon, Facebook, Google, these companies tend to ask a lot of leet code questions or DSA questions, which are data structures and algorithms, which is basically more computer science, theoretical, high in the sky things that most of us are not going to be using on a day-to-day basis. Versus if you interview at a non-technical company, these companies tend to ask you more practical questions like, we have a lot of images on our homepage and the homepage loads slowly. If you were a developer on our team, how would you fix that problem? If you don't want to go and do the leet code grind 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to try to get into a technical company, then working at a non-tech company could make a lot of sense for you. Number 2, when you work at a non-tech company, work-life balance tends to be better. Now, there will be people that say, that's not always the case. It's on a team-by-team basis. And that's right, that's true. But in general, from what I've seen working at both non-technical and technical companies, at non-technical companies, people tend to view software development as a job. They're here 8 hours. They're going to do their tasks. They're going to go home. They're going to relax with their family. They're going to go fishing. They're going to go, quote unquote, have a life. Versus when I've worked at tech companies, a lot of the people have been more intense, type A personality. Let's work, work, work. After work, I'm going to go work on my side project. I'm going to contribute to open source. I'm going to study for AWS certificate. I'm going to do my master's degree, something like that. So if you're at a stage in your life where you want to focus more on life versus work, it could make more sense to work at a non-tech company. Finally, number 3, another reason to consider working at non-tech companies is they tend to be more resistant to layoffs because tech is in a part of the economy that's kind of speculative, right? You need to research things, you need to innovate, and you need to produce something new. You have to basically create demand out of nothing in many cases. Look at a lot of the headlines from the last few years. You'll see a lot of Intel lays off 10,000 engineers or 10,000 workers in tech. Microsoft lays off how many workers? Amazon, Meta. A lot of the biggest, I don't know if you would call them culprits of layoffs, the people that were doing the layoffs tended to be these technical companies. And I'm not an economic expert, but it could be said that tech is a more feast and famine industry versus other industries like insurance or government that tend to be more stable even in uncertain times. If you don't want to deal with the headaches of layoffs, working in a non-technical company, there's no guarantees, but you might have a somewhat better chance of avoiding layoffs. So that's not to say working at a technical company doesn't have tons of benefits. You get to work with some of the smartest people in the world. The compensation can be insane, and you get to work on really cool products. But that's not to say that working at a non-technical company has to be this woe is me thing, because there's a lot of cool things about working at non-technical companies as well.